Askreddit thread. What little known fact do you know? There is a town called OK, Oklahoma. On maps, it is written as OK, OK. Just imagine asking your phone for directions. Okay, Google, take me to OK, OK. Okay. Twister with Bill Paxton was the first movie to be released on DVD. I think I remember watching that movie. A History of Violence, 2006, starring Viggo Mortensen, was the last movie to be released on VHS. I forget that S-O-N is supposed to be pronounced Sen, because my name has an S-E-N at the end of it, my last name, when usually it's supposed to be S-O-N, like Anderson. Mine's not Anderson, but it's similar to that, and it's spelled S-E-N, so whenever I have to tell someone how to spell my last name, since it's spelled a little bit differently, it's not S-O-N at the end, it's S-E-N. I have to make sure about that, and my name's always misspelled. I have a very common last name. Funny thing is, though, it has a weird spelling to it, but I remember when I was in middle school, there was another kid in my school who always got in trouble, who had the same first and last name, and his last name was also spelled differently, just like mine, so it was the exact same spelling for the last name. Since he got in trouble all the time, they'd usually call my house. You're like, do you know what your son did? My mom would be like, oh, you must be talking about the other one, because mine is a nerd who never leaves his house. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, we got the wrong one again. The English dictionary from 1932 to 1940 included a misprinted word which had no definition. Dord. Dord became known as a ghost word. Dord. This is great. I can totally make a video out of all these. The word Dord is a notable error in lexicography, an accidental creation or ghost word. Dord. Like the missing no of dictionaries, except Dord didn't give you 99 rare candies. The average horse is capable of almost 15 horsepower. What? That's peak, no? Yes, 1 horsepower was supposed to be the average sustained work that a horse could perform. You know those expensive reclaimed wood furniture pieces? That is mostly pallet wood. Yep. Even when it says reclaimed barn wood, it is pallet wood. I mean, there isn't anything wrong with that, but just know that you could go and dive around the back of Home Depot, grab the pallets from their trash bin, and make that shit yourself. Source: father owns a major furniture company. Pointed out, just so no one gets arrested, you can't just go back around Home Depot and take pallets. They are not thrown away, unless they're in bad shape. Then they get thrown away in a trash chute, not usually accessible from the outside. So yeah, don't get arrested. I was just trying to emphasize my point that it is merely pallet wood. For the people messaging me angry about my father's unethical furniture practices, you can cool your jets. He doesn't do anything with case goods. He almost exclusively produces leather couches and armchairs. He has been in the mass production furniture industry for 25 plus years and knows a lot about the way furniture he didn't make was made. Let's see. M&M stands for Mars and Murray's, which are the founders' last names. I've heard that one already. My uncle used to work for the M&M factory in Hackettstown, New Jersey during World War II. M&Ms were sold exclusively to the military. They nicknamed them military munchies. It's because they don't melt in your pocket. They sold them to the military because the outer candy shells keep them from melting into goo when you're in a hot environment or outdoors for a long period of time. Soldiers want to eat candy, but they can't carry around chocolate bars. M&Ms were specifically created to be sold to them. And to steal business away from the British-made Smarties that did the same thing. Innuendos aside, that's where all the melt in your mouth, not in your hand marketing comes from. The sun accounts for 99.86% of the mass of the solar system. About half of the remainder is Jupiter. Edit to add, the surface of the sun, as we see it, is really large, but Corona, its outer atmosphere, is approximately a lot larger. Going by the Y key for relative mass, I think I already read this before. It's basically the sun makes up most of the universe. I mean the mass in our solar system. Jupiter makes up the other, and everything else is just a rounding error. In a secondary school, I once read a book in the library, a Crazy Laws of the World type book that claimed in rural Hungary it was once legal for men to marry trees. If they were old enough to take a wife but couldn't attract one, they could go into the woods, find a tree and marry it. Then they chopped the tree down, and after that were legally and socially considered a widow and could therefore marry a widow, who were now available and quite wealthy after gaining their husband's assets after his death. I've looked for years to find out if this is a real fact. Can anyone shed any light on this? That sounds awesome. Tree marriage. I know I have a book that has a bunch of crazy laws in it too, but I don't remember seeing that. Fungi do not have sperm or egg cells like plants and animals do. Instead, they only have a single type of haploid cell involved in sexual reproduction. The homocarion. Homocarion, I think. Rather than having a male or female genotype, homocarions have mating types that aren't well understood. Basically, the only rule for sexual reproduction is if two homokaryotes have different mating types, they can fuse and form a new organism. There are over a dozen known mating types in button mushrooms. That would be like if humans had men, women, and 10 other genders. And if every individual could reproduce with every other kind, it's pretty weird. Also, homokaryons are not single-celled. They grow on petri dishes to form colonies and can be used repeatedly to mate with each other. So long as they are kept cold and free of contamination, they can live for years or even decades. That'd be like if every single one of your sperm cells could grow into a pile of goo and just hang out until you introduce it to a pile of egg goo. Again, weird. Huh, I did not know that. My 10-year-old is beginning a project that's to begin at the end of the school year on fungi. I'm going to be in the good books when I drop this on him after school. IRC, in 2011, Cisco estimated the internet would consist of around 950 exabytes of data by 2015. To put that in perspective, 1 terabyte equals 124 gigabytes. No, 1024. 1 petabyte is equal to 1024 terabytes. 1 exabyte is equal to 1024 petabytes. 1 exabyte equals roughly 50,000 years worth of DVD time. And all words spoken by humans since the beginning of time could fit in 5 exabytes. And there are 950 of them. Where else would you think all that porn would fit? That'd be nice to have a petabyte to hold all my videos. Right now I only have like 1, 2, 7 terabytes to hold all my stuff, because I need lots of space for the work I do, where I just record footage, and footage takes up a lot of space. My 5 terabyte one is still going strong. It's not even half full yet though, but the other 2 are full, because I have a 1 terabyte ones and then a 5 terabyte external one. I'm gonna need to buy another one. I don't know, I'll probably just empty it out. I don't really need that much space, but a petabyte, I wouldn't even have to think about that. I could just save everything. That'd be awesome. A lot of data is duplicated. If, for instance, you want to watch a video of a cat, there will be multiple copies. One in US, one in UK, and one in Australia. All to allow efficient transport. Then perhaps you want to stream it. So there will be a different version of each video for each device, Android, PC, RAW, etc. Then never mind all the copies of things like Office and Windows, plus the millions of people torrenting stuff all the time. It adds up, I suppose. And probably like 900 of them are porn and cat videos. You don't just go off scale on the Richter. The current leaderboard has even called it the Big Bang on top with a score of 40. That's right, the entire mass energy of the observable universe amounts to a pathetic 40 on the Richter. Never underestimate a logarithmic scale. Last year, I went to a pub quiz, and one question was, what is the highest possible score on the Richter scale? Quizmaster then announced the score answer was 10. My team lost a point because the idiotic quizmaster thought the Richter scale was from 0 to 10, like a movie rating or something. I will never forgive her for that. Wow. Did you not have a point of order? The quizmaster does not take kindly to being undermined, as she puts it. She also once claimed that California spans 6 time zones. It's futile to argue with her. Definitely not the best quizmaster ever. How on earth does she think California spans 6 time zones? Sounds like she should lay off those extra points. A trivia master only has to remember trivial information, not important information. Sure it's not 42? Mother of God, you just figured out that question. Oh, 42. A mantis shrimp... Whoa. I think I need a drink of water real quick. Ooh. My throat just dried out of nowhere. Okay. This is going to be fun since I don't actually edit these videos. Just ignore like the last 30 seconds. A mantis shrimp hits with 2,500 times its own body weight. If a human could punch with that ratio, he would crush steel. Also, rhinos can communicate using their poop and get information about other rhinos. Huh. The mantis shrimp can hit with a force of 1,500 newtons, which says something about what sissy punch Newton had. This is a Frank from True Facts about the mantis shrimp. Another fun fact about mantis shrimp, they have like the most light scales in their eyes, so they can see more colors than anyone else in the world. Because humans can only see 3 colors, but mantis shrimp can see like 7. So they can see things that we can't. Kind of like how we can see things that dogs can't. I mean colors that dogs can't because we have more color or whatever they're called in our eyes than dogs do. They don't actually see in black and white. They see like, I forget what it was. I think they just can't see like red and green. No, I think that's just colorblind people. I don't remember what dogs can't see. The mantis shrimp have the most of those, so 2 fun facts about mantis shrimp, huh? Another fun fact, I hate mantis. Praying mantis, the bugs. I remember I was making a video about like amazing facts about animals, something like that. And I want to include mantis shrimp, but I was like, then I have to look up pictures of mantis shrimp, and they might accidentally give me pictures of mantis. So I'm going to remove this from my list. Because I'm not going to do that. Not sure how little known this is, but cardiographers used to insert fake places where no such place exists to catch out anyone copying their maps. These could range from streets to mountains to whole islands. Authors of early dictionaries and encyclopedia did the same. Huh. They called them paper towns and was inspiration of the name of John Green's book. And fake streets would be Paper Street, which is the address of the house Tyler Durden lived in Fight Club. Just another hint that he didn't really exist. Huh. Spoilers! In order to determine if the female giraffe is fertile, the male giraffe headbutts her in the abdomen until she urinates. Then he'd taste the urine to determine her fertility. Gonna try this at the club on Saturday. Of course, there's a giraffe club, and of course it's in Japan. Male giraffes frequently engage in neck swinging duels, after which the winner will usually fuck the loser. Oh man. Looks like I lost the neck swinging duel, which I totally tried to win. I guess that means you have to fuck me, right? According to our rules? Aw, shucks, it's a real shame, but rules are rules. Did you make that last part up, or was that just really good people at BBC stop filming? Did not expect this to be actually true. It's a choice, not genetics. They're all going to hell. Yeah, there's a lot of homosexual sex in the animal kingdom. Animals surprisingly just don't give a fuck. The English word procrastinate comes from the Latin roots pro and crass, for tomorrow. Oh, I used to be so bad at procrastinating. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore. The North Pole is actually the Earth's south magnetic pole. What? Oh fuck, that's why the north part of the magnet points to it. Dude, I think we just committed science. Well, it's... Why? What? I'm confused. Magnets, opposite attracts. North attracts south, south attracts north. If the compass is pointing north, it's because it's drawn to the south magnetic pole. The original height of Mount Everest was calculated to be exactly 29,000 feet high, but was publicly declared to be 29,002 feet in order to avoid the impression that an exact height of 29,000 feet was nothing more than a rounded estimate. But isn't Mount Everest 29,028.87 feet high? It grows every year because the subcontinent of India slowly crashed into China, pushing the land upwards from the Himalayas. Technically, that means whoever summits first each season can claim to be the first person to summit the world's highest peak. Why only the first each season? Everest hasn't stopped growing during the season. Technically, it means every person who summits can claim to be the first person to summit the world's highest peak. Mountains only grow with enough sunlight. There isn't much sun in the off-season. So I just went to a private school. But if you pour coffee in them instead of water, they'll grow faster. Don't be silly. The only way they'll grow is if the Supreme Leader allows them to. Miami Hilpinatapai is considered the most succinct word and the hardest to translate. It roughly translates to a look shared by two people, each wishing that the other will offer something that they both desire but are unwilling to suggest or offer themselves. Language is Yaghan. Sexual tension. Bingo. Wow, this is a ridiculously useful word. Dord is what we'll call it in English. Most upvotes I've ever received a single comment. Not too bad. It takes almost 2 years for a pineapple to grow. Damn. Also, if you cut the top 2 inches off a store-bought pineapple plant, so just the top leaves are out of the dirt. Wait, let me read this again. Also, if you cut the top 2 inches off a store-bought pineapple, plant it so just the top leaves are out of the dirt, keep it away from freezing temperatures, you'll have a pineapple in 2 years. No way. The phrase, keep your shirt on, meaning calm down, comes from when shirts were very expensive, so men would remove them before fighting in order to prevent damage. Oh, I thought removing your shirt meant it hard to grapple you, and that's why people did it. Also, them pulling over your head and not seeing anything. These are both also true. I remember in football, the reason I was able to get so many tackles over everyone else is because, for some reason, other players were very reluctant to grab jersey. Like, if you're on defense and you're trying to tackle someone, you are 100% okay to grab their shirt, their jersey, or their pants, anything. But you're not allowed to grab their face mask. That's like the only thing that's hands off. You can't grab that. A lot of people don't. They try to, grab them like they don't have any clothes on or something. And I had a higher rate of success in tackling people. I don't think I've ever actually missed a tackle because I'd always, grab onto their shirt like it was the first thing I was going after. And then I wrap my body around after that because it's really hard for them to get away unless they're just going super fast and I barely, caught a whiff of their shirt or something. So yeah, if you're fighting someone, pull their shirt away. The shirt, if it doesn't rip, it's going to give you a lot of leverage on them. A trick from someone who has tackled more people than I can remember, thanks to being able to pull their jersey. Regarding the Pony Express, there wasn't a single pony in the Pony Express, just horses. That reminds me of the Film Cow video, General Taff and his Pony Express. Another little known fact, ponies are not just baby horses. I hate when anyone who ever had a pony. The BMD series of Russian airborne APCs couldn't deploy with its crew using traditional parachutes. This meant dropping the crew separately, often landing far away. To get around this, they designed a rocket parachute. It has a drogue to get it clear off the aircraft, a main chute to slow the majority of the fall, and then retro rockets just before it hits the ground. Basically, the Russians built a real-life Warhammer 40k drop pad and nobody mentions it. I don't know what this is. Images. Oh. Well, that's a lot less exciting than I thought it would be. This video is 20 minutes long, so this will be the last one. Nimrod was a mighty hunter. Bugs Bunny once called Elmore Fudd, poor little Nimrod, and the viewing public, who mostly had no idea who the fuck Nimrod was, thought Bugs Bunny was calling Elmer an idiot, rather than saying essentially Probrecito. What? For thousands of years, the name Nimrod has signified a powerful, proud, and amicable hunter. Okay, see, this is why I do these videos, so I can practice reading a whole bunch of words I've never actually said out loud before. Well, I'm pretty sure I've said this out loud before. It's not something I say very often. For the past 70 or so, it's meant dumbass. Oh, and also, the opening lines to the song Circle of Life are Nance Ignoyama Bigatiha Baba, and they translate to, look father, here comes a lion. Oh, in Lion King, that's why that sounded familiar. Alright, I kind of want to read one more. The city of Newton in Massachusetts is broken up into villages, little sections of the city that have their own unique look and feel. One of the villages, Non-An-Tum, is nicknamed the Lake because it was legit a lake that they landfilled and built horses on. It used to be primarily the Italian section. I'm not sure what extent that is true anymore, but most interestingly, this section of the city has its own vernacular known as Lake Talk. My uncle, to this day, still calls his buddies mush when it is slang for man or dude. Okay. My favorite is that the phrase hands down comes from horse racing and refers to a jockey who is so far ahead that he can afford to drop his hands and loosen the reins, usually kept tight to encourage a horse to run and still easily win. Oh, I never knew that. The most popular first name in the world is Muhammad, and the most popular last name is Chen. Yet there aren't many Muhammad Chens. Kermit the Frog is left-handed. Astronomer, there exists a dwarf planet, Haumea, past the orbit of Neptune that is the fastest spinning planet or dwarf planet in the solar system by far. How fast? Well, Haumea is a third the mass of Pluto, but rotates once every 3.5 hours. What? That is so fast it puts a lot of stress on the dwarf planet and makes it look like an ellipsoid. As in, normally it would be fairly spherical like a tennis ball, but it's spinning so fast that Haumea is twice as long as it is wide. So like a lentil. So yeah, that's my one. Haumea, I think I said it wrong every time, is in the running for weirdest object in the solar system, but no one's heard of it before. An ellipsoid. Wow, that's cool. Alright, I'm just not going to read any of the child comments and just read all the parents. The BMD-1 airborne APC had armor made out of an alloy of aluminum and magnesium. In Afghanistan, they had a tendency to set on fire when taking fire. Wow. Another one related to horse racing that's not very well known piece of history. Everyone is familiar with the aspect of the announcer calling a horse race, but not that a lot of people know where it started. On February 5th, 1927, in Tijuana, Mexico, there was a film being shot at the racetrack. A track official noticed the way a director was using a microphone and loudspeaker to direct his crew and actors during the filming. The idea came to him that if he had a microphone set up in the steward's booth that led to his seat of speakers, he could call the positions of the horses like a director gave directions. Later that day, he had it set up without telling any of the Patreons to the track about it. When people first experienced it, they were extremely confused. Before that, people would keep track of the horses themselves with binoculars and were often unable to get a great view at certain angles. After they got used to it, they loved hearing a race being called, and it became an everyday thing in a small tract town. Now, it's an extremely important part of modern-day racing all over the world. Oh man, these are getting long. The phrase, wouldn't give them the time of day, and its variations actually come from my town of Chester. This city is right on the border with Wales, and one of the churches has a clock tower with only 3 clocks on it, pointing north, east, and west, but no clock facing south. Edit, it faces south as the time of the River Dee was the border. This was to send the message that English disliked the Welsh so much they wouldn't even give them the time of day, hence the phrase. Huh. This may or not be known, a little known fact, but it is still something that surprises me as how many people I've come across that don't know it. The yolk of an egg is not the chicken's fetus, or any part that chicken would have come from had it been fertilized. The yolk is basically a protein/food sack for the chicken embryo/fetus, whatever to feed on while it's in the egg. My favorite egg fact is that the whole thing is just one cell. Human cells are tiny, but an ostrich egg is basically the same thing. What? Human egg cells are the largest we have, and the only one visible by eye. Most American car horns sound in the note of F. Press horn to pay respects. The first man-made object to break the sound barrier was the whip. Okay, Snapple facts. This isn't really exactly little known, it's just math. But when I was teaching, I like to tell my kids about the difference between a million and a billion. My favorite example was that I have found is that 1,000,000 seconds from right now is in 11 days, while 1,000,000,000 seconds from right now is 30 years. Damn. That is a good way to explain it. The majority of educated people in the Dark Ages never seriously thought that the world was flat. The idea that the Earth is a globe has been well known and established since antiquity. The argument of Galileo and the Pope was about whether or not the Earth revolved around the Sun, not about the shape of the thing. The winning Mega Millions, November 4th, 2014, 9/15/24/39/41, and the Mega Ball number was 1. I have this memorized. If I ever get the opportunity to travel back in time, I'm going to November 4th, 2014, and I'm splitting that 321 million jackpot with the other winner. I may be a crazy person, but you can never be too prepared for traveling to the past. What? Paint and primer in one doesn't actually mean that the primer is in the paint. It's just a marketing term that makes the paint sound more appealing because paint covers really well. The Entertainment Software Rating Board was created in the 90s in response to public outrage at Mortal Kombat. Senate debated a possible solution to this, and soon the ESRB was born. I remember Mortal Kombat when I was young. Those fatalities were awesome. God damn, there's so many more. This is long. Why did I spend so long reading this? Alright, I'm going to end it here. I know there's more, but I can't finish. This is almost 30 minutes.